Well, first up, let's get you this big breaking update as the initial inquiry that has been initiated into the police general diary entry that seems to be linked to the 20th of July incident, and sources say that questions are now being raised over why the general diary was reportedly recorded 2 days after the incident. Now, the investigators are examining the circumstances and the timing of the entry as part of the ongoing inquiry there, which seems to have suggested, as far as when it comes to the timeline on which the action is to be taken on the protesters, is something that may have been mentioned. Now, this seems to be the initial probe that has now begun as far as when it comes to the police general diary entry that seems to be linked to the 20th of July incident. Let's connect with Priyank and Bhavtosh as well. Bhavtosh, help us understand what these diary entries mean and what is the indication that may have been given on part of the police as to what all that they can use to quell the protest.
Well, what has happened is a very controversial thing, is the use of pellet or pellet gun, which were used on 20th of July. And since then, there have been controversy as to why they were used. They have not been even used in conflict zones like Srinagar, and even used very discreetly in Manipur. And since they were used, there have been several individuals, including leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, his sister Priyanka Gandhi, questioning the center as to why they were used. CRPF and other paramilitary forces, including RAF, has not yet issued a statement. Now, there is a general diary entry which blames or at least says that on directions of the DCP, the pellet gun was used. Now, what has happened is that the matter or this hearing has started in the Supreme Court. We are waiting as to what will happen in the hearing. And the use of pellet gun is a very controversial issue because at least 5 individuals have been injured, and they have, in fact, there is a fear that they will receive eye injuries and other kind of injuries. They have been admitted in the hospital. Some of them were even received critical injuries.
Right, but Priyank, then help us understand who exactly is the one who is giving them the directions, because there would be a way as far as when it comes to civilian protests are concerned against unarmed civilians, what measures and what means are to be put to use to actually disperse the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that is what CJI is also saying while the hearing is continuing in the apex court. I'm quoting from the CJI's pointers, which is being shared by our legal editor Hadish, and that is on the similar line what we have been talking. CJI says that the protest is within the constitutional limit. There are 2 things that can happen. We will look into those who want to prevent this kind of indulgence of the excessive force, and that can result to violence. We need input from all the stakeholders. We will issue guidelines. So that is what is going to happen, because there have been several stakeholders, Amita. The Delhi Police, which is the nodal agency for maintaining law and order here in the national capital, had roped in the central forces, which include the CAPF, the ITBP, CRPF and RAF, which is a part of the force which has come up from the CRPF itself. Those officers who have been from the CRPF go and get dissolved, transferred as a part of deputation in the RAF, which is the Rapid Action Force. And the apex court is also of the viewpoint that the kind of excessive force which has been used by the forces, whether it was needed or not, the court is of the opinion that all stakeholders will be sent summons so that the exact observation can be brought into picture. Because we are talking about multiple agencies which work in tandem to keep the city safe. We are talking about multiple agencies which keep an eye to keep any kind of movement which is happening in the national capital, that too near the parliament, while the parliament was in session. Only shifting the onus on the Delhi police is not going to make things clear. All those agencies, those officials on the ground who have been in charge of maintaining law and order will also be very important. What is very important from this diary entry, Amita, that the diary entry was made 2 days after the incident. Exactly. The incident happened on 20th, as we know. It was on Monday, and on 24th, the GD entry was made. So that is making this case more murkier, that by 48 hours was taken by the RPF personnel to report about this matter while they were injured, while the DCP was injured, that this GD entry was made 48 hours after the incident had happened. Actually, it should have been made by late evening or in the due course of the day. So that is what is going to happen next, that the inquiry will be called into this matter. In the meanwhile, I just quoted from the CGI statement that the CGI is of the opinion, as Harish has been sending more pointers, that whosoever has used excessive force against innocent,
that means that the Supreme Court is also in the know as far as when it comes to what has happened during the protest, and both stays and both stories must be, looked into as far as if there are any atrocities that has been committed on whose directions as to why. This is something which the Supreme Court says, yes, but peaceful protest is also a right that every citizen of this country has. Thank you very much, Priyank and Bhav.